Half angle formulas is what this video is about, and just as we have double angle formulas, sum and difference formulas, we have power reducing formulas, we can also half angle formulas. So you'll see they are listed three sets of half angle formulas, one for sine, cosine, and three versions for tangent. Notice for sine and cosine for the half angle, they're very, very similar with plus or minuses, square roots, and that's 1 minus cosine and 1 plus cosine over 2. So they're very similar formulas, one's minus and one's plus. Tangent has three different variations based on taking the sine and dividing by the cosine. There's one with a square root on the top and a square root on the bottom, and the last two are variations from the first one as we rationalize numerators and denominators. I'll be honest with you, I choose one of the last two because they look a little easier. I'm going to put a star by these because they are located on your formula sheet, and I need you to be able to know these as well as use those. So, an important fact with the half angle formulas is plus or minus does not mean two answers. You have to determine whether the sign is going to be positive or negative, which is determined by which quadrant the half angle will fall. Okay, so that's something to remember there. Let's try a couple of these in this video. Let's start with the cosine of 105. Now, I know we've already practiced sum and difference formulas, so you probably know that cosine of 105 is the same thing as cosine of 60 plus 45, right? Yep. But that is using a sum or difference formulas, and this is a video about half angle formulas, so let's use a half angle formula as we are already past the sum and the difference. So basically, if you want to use a half angle formula, you have to say what angle divided by 2 will give me 105. And that is, hopefully you said 210. Now notice 105 is not a special angle on the unit circle, so we cannot figure it out without using a calculator at this point or sum and difference formula. But 210 is an angle on the unit circle that we can use to be able to complete this. So the formula says plus or minus the square root. It's cosine, so it's 1 plus cosine of the angle that you can use divided by 2. Now notice I didn't put 105 here because I can't find the cosine of 105. The purpose of the formula is to give you special access to finding the cosine of 105 using a halved angle of 210. So the first thing I need to determine is it plus or minus? So let's think about the cosine of 105. 105 is over here in quadrant 2. And based on a smart tree class in quadrant 2, is the answer going to be for cosine positive or negative? Negative. 1 plus, now I need the cosine of 210. 210's down here in the third quadrant with a 30-degree reference angle. Negative 1/2, negative square root of 3 over 2. The cosine is the x value, so that's negative square root of 3 over 2 all over 2. Now, I do not expect you to simplify these all the way down. When you get into calculus, you will have to. But for me, it's perfectly acceptable if you just put 1 minus the square root of 3 over 2 all over 2. I think you can figure out that plus and minus is a negative. But I don't expect you to find a common denominator in the numerator, change flip for dividing, and then rationalize. It's perfectly acceptable if you stop right here and give me that answer. If you get an answer on MyLab Math that you think you've gotten right, but it wants you to simplify it down, feel free to send me a screenshot and I'll make it right for you. If you're following along on the note sheet, you see one that talks about verifying. I'm not going to worry about verifying that. We've done enough practice in previous lessons on verifying. I'd like to spend my time, and this one's not on your note sheet, but you can add it and do another example of what we just do. Let's do the tangent of 75 degrees. Let's do the tangent of 75 degrees. So once again, I'm well aware that a sum or difference formula could be used to do this, but I would like to practice half angle formulas, and you'll be told on the test or quiz to use a sum or difference formula, to use a half angle formula. So I need to know tangent of some angle divided by 2 that would equal 75. If you said 150 divided by 2, you are correct. Notice that 75 is not a special angle, but 150 is. So the formulas are, remember, tangent is the one that has 3 different versions. I prefer to use the easiest version. So I'm going to use the one that's 1 minus cosine of the angle divided by sine of the angle. Now the angle I'm going to use is the 150. I'm going to use 150's properties. So that's a 30-degree reference angle. 1/2 square root of 3 over 2 with a negative. And now I can fill in what I need. 1 minus, the cosine is negative square root of 3 over 2. The sine is 1/2. That's the same thing as 1 plus the square root of 3 over 2 over 1/2. It's like a 7. Let me fix that. There we go. Now, if you gave me this answer on a test or quiz, I would be elated that you got the formula right, you used the right angle, and you knew how to execute the problem. But just for fun, in case you didn't know, dividing by 1/2 is the same thing as multiplying by 2. So 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times the square root of 3 over 2, the 2's would cancel out and just leave me the square root of 3. And for some reason, okay, yeah, that's right. And so this is an exact form for tangent of 75. Now, just let me reiterate, this is a correct answer. This is the most simplified answer. And I would take either one, as in this unit, I'm really testing your knowledge of the formulas and how to use them, not necessarily how can you rationalize large fractions with radicals and the tops and the bottoms and that kind of thing. So here, these are 2 examples of using half-angle formulas that were discussed right up here. Oh, that was power reducing. Let me scroll down here. There are the half-angle formulas right there. So that is how you do half-angle formulas.